Hey everybody, it is the brand new first episode of Wrestling Overtime, and I am so excited. If any of you have been following us on West Virginia Overtime, I'm glad you migrated over here to Wrestling Overtime to hear us. And for you brand new listeners out there, this is a brand new podcast that is going to be breaking down professional wrestling, mostly AEW and WWE, but we will be checking in with some other companies. I first started off thinking that we would open this podcast with NXT. And then I thought, well, what's coming up on WWE Raw on December 30th with the Lana and Bobby Lashley wedding? I think I'm going to open up with that. I think it's going to be too good to be true, and I really want to start 2020 off with a bang. And when I looked and NXT is not live this Wednesday, I decided, oh yeah, that is a sign I've got to open up with WWE Raw, December 30th in Hartford, Connecticut. It opens up with Vic Joseph and Jerry Lawler, and when I saw only the two of them, I knew that the rumors that had been spreading on the dirt sheets like crazy had to be true. Samoa Joe had to be cleared to wrestle, and that we were going to see him in action tonight. And buddy, we really didn't have to wait too long for that, did we? Kevin Owens comes out, and they start off with the beatdown replay. They show Rey Mysterio's beatdown, and then, of course, they have to show Samoa Joe last Raw episode being at the announcer table, and AOP, Authors of Pain, kind of confronting him, and Seth sicking his dogs on Samoa Joe, where they ended up putting him through the table. So KO comes into the ring, and Owens immediately starts going off on Seth, talking about, how he's going to keep continuing to come out, and they can continue to come on out and beat him down, but that he is eventually going to get them, and that they might as well just go ahead and come out. Well, of course, we hear no music. So he shows Rey Mysterio losing to Andrade Thursday night at Madison Square Garden. And, of course, he says it is due to the beatdown that AOP gave Rey Mysterio that Andrade was able to beat Mysterio. And the crowd kind of acts like this is a shock to them. And I'm thinking, are you a wrestling fan? Do you not listen to any podcasts? Do you not read the dirt sheets? Do you not go on any website known to man? Because it was all over WWE. It was all over everywhere that Mysterio had lost the belt. But the crowd reaction shots that, of course, that they were showing were ones of disbelief that they had no clue that he had lost the belt. So Kevin Owens, of course, is going on about this, and Seth Rollins is not one to let someone get the spotlight over him. So, of course, we hear his music hit, and he comes out, talking about how he's going to enforce his will. Well, I don't know about you, but since Seth has hurt his hand and he has it kind of in this padded glove / black cast type thing that he's got going on, I haven't seen Seth really enforce his will on really anybody. He's been getting AOP to do that for him, and basically proceeds to do that now, and they just beat Kevin. And of course, then Samoa Joe comes out. His music hits, and of course, everybody's marking out, and he basically just goes through AOP. I mean, he's putting him down left and right. Gets in the ring and he starts to put Seth to sleep. Of course, using the clutch, and he's getting ready to put him out, and miraculously, AOP, they come back to life and, break that up. And then Kevin has gotten his chair and decides to even up the odds kind of just a little bit. And we go to commercial because security is basically rushing in. Well, after commercial, we see Owens and Samoa Joe sitting in the locker room, kind of discussing things, and of course, who else would be in a men's locker room but Charlie? Charlie comes in and she, wants to interview. Well, I really did mark out. I really got excited. Samoa Joe here talking about choices and how he doesn't have a choice. This promo is actually really good. It reminds me of the old Samoa Joe. I haven't really seen that fire recently in WWE. I don't know if he has signed a new contract and is, trying to impress himself. He is getting ready to sign a new contract and wants to impress WWE, or whether he's maybe on his way out and he's wanting to impress another company. But he actually has some spark in his eyes. He's actually saying this with some force, and I'm thinking, man, this is one of the better promos. And it wasn't long, but this is one of the better promos I've seen in the last, I don't know, couple months maybe in the WWE. It's not up there with the Cody promo. I'm not going there. I don't want you guys writing me, but it actually is pretty good. But then of course, Kevin's got to interrupt, and he talks and talks and talks until security comes to escort them out of the building, and they say they have 7 more days until you see them again. Well, we come back, and Aleister Black is taking on Buddy Murphy. They're talking about this being a rematch of the TLC match that they had. As I'm watching this, I am reminded just how much I love Aleister Black's entrance. Whoever came up with that, that's just a cool, kicking entrance. I love his music. I love how he does it. I love the far off look away after, he's brought up. I just really enjoy that entrance. I enjoy the story that he tries to tell. I don't always feel that WWE announcers do a good job telling his backstory or even really explaining his moveset a lot. It seems like every time he is talked about, they talk about what a quick striker he is. I wish they would talk about some other things. And then Buddy Murphy comes out. I'm going to be kind of honest with you. I don't know why. I don't really like Buddy Murphy. I do appreciate that he can wrestle. I do appreciate that he is very good in a match. And this was a good match, I will have to say. But I just can't get into him. I don't know whether I feel he's bland. I don't really know his backstory. I did not follow him in NXT. So, for all of you NXT fans out there, write in. We're at Wrestling Overtime at gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at Wrestling Overtime, and you can find us on Facebook at Wrestling Overtime. Explain Buddy Murphy to me. Help me get him. because he is a good wrestler. And like I said, this was a good match, but it just didn't intrigue me. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, I feel like he's bland. So, Black wins this match, and I felt like he was always going to win it. I felt like this was just very, very convincingly set up for Black to win. And so, even though, like I said, it was a good match, I'm struggling because I don't feel there's a storyline here. And since this is the first episode, I really want to stop and explain to you, I am about storylines. Obviously, I grew up on wrestling. I like wrestling that tells a story, that has some payoff, that has some event that causes something. I don't want wrestling for the sake of wrestling. I don't want them to put a hat out on, a podium and, excuse me, pull names out of a hat and us just have a wrestling match. I don't want that. I want there to be a reason. I want there to be some kind of conflict. I want there to be a story. And when they're in the ring, I want there to be a story told. I want someone to be getting drilled and there to be some kind of comeback and me to root somebody on or to root against somebody. Either way, I'll take it. But I do want there to be something there. And I just feel like in this match, there wasn't. So, then WWE, because they have gave Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black some time to actually have a match, they kind of flash to Seth talking to AOP, where they're talking in Spanish, and Rollins is just like, look, we're going to be asked to leave. We're going to leave. There's not going to be any fighting. We're not going to put up a battle about this or anything. And then he says something that really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. He says Raw is probably going to be canceled without their Messiah. And then, of course, security kind of shows up. And I thought, Messiah. Interesting choice of words there, Seth. Is this the new storyline? Because the announcers have been using leader of the locker room, I believe, is the terms that they've been using. But I'm wondering, is Seth going to go into this God complex where he's kind of been in the hero complex where he's saving the WWE, but is he going to ramp it up a little bit? Because if he is, I'm interested. That's something that hasn't been done in a while, and I think that Seth is cocky enough that he can do this. And I enjoyed Seth when he was heel, when he was the evil architect, when he was, the puppet of the authority and all of that. I haven't liked his babyface run at all. And so I'm kind of intrigued a little bit. They've got me a little excited to see Seth next week. But, of course, they've got to ruin it by bringing, Eric Rowan up to ask, Lana during her wedding prep, I'm assuming that's what she was doing, about his invitation to the wedding. And I'm like, what? Can't you watch it on TV like the rest of us? Or how about you don't need an invitation because you're Rowan and you can just walk out there. No one's going to do anything to you. It's not like Lashley's going to do something to you. What are they going to do, throw cake on you? Why are you even bothering to ask if he can be invited? I can't tell you how much I can't stand him. I can't tell you how much I hate his gimmick. I can't stand it. It's basically Jake the Snake. I mean, think about it. Jake the Snake had a bag. It had a snake in it. He brought the bag to the ring. Eventually, he revealed it, and the snake was put on his opponents. Well, we've got Mr. Neanderthal here carrying around a cage. It's basically Jake the Snake. And while I loved Jake the Snake, and I loved that gimmick, I don't need to see it repeated worse. Which is kind of what's happening. And they're dragging this out too long. I'm to the point, I don't even care what's in the cage. And so then he goes out and has a squash match after commercials, and I don't care. This is not making him look tough to me. This is not making me hate him. This is not making me like him. This is making me want him to go away. I've never liked him. I didn't like him as part of the Wyatt family. I felt that he was, the weakest link. I just kind of do. I want him to go away. They keep trying different things, so maybe they see something in him that I don't. I was a little bit on board with him being with Daniel Bryan, but not really. I was more interested in what kind of music shirt he was going to wear this week. But this new gimmick that he's doing, just do away with it. And then they flash to Lana rubbing her legs and talking to herself. Okay, we already get that she's crazy. You didn't need to show her talking to herself. Why are we wasting time on this? So then we bring out Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, I feel like, has really been in a rut. I don't even know what to say about her. I kind of feel blah about her too, and I never thought I would say that about Charlotte Flair. Since she has fell in love with Andrade and in real life, and they have kind of become a couple, I just feel like she's not doing her best wrestling. Her promos are not really great. It just seems like she's not in it. And so I'm not real sure what's going on. To hear some podcasters talk, to hear some dirt sheets talk, she's got babies on the brain. And maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. But her coming out to announce that she is the first entry into the Royal Rumble. Okay. And then she's taking on Natalya. And again, I'm like, okay. Because I know it's the WWE. And this is Ric Flair's daughter. And they're just not going to let her lose. So I'm thinking, should I fast forward this? Should I go take a bathroom break? Should I go to a refrigerator? What should I do? Well, I'm glad I didn't, because there were some cool moves in this. I was really excited with Natty having the cool backbreaker move, Charlotte doing the Boston Crab over in the corner, using the ring post and the ring ropes. I was glad to have seen that. But this is just kind of a fairly typical Natty match. And I just kind of wish, for once, they would push her. Now, granted, I wasn't wanting them to push her, after Jim Neidhart died. I did not want them to throw her a bone. And I don't think that they would if they would start pushing her now or, fairly soon after WrestleMania. But I really want to see what Natty can do. And we all know that here, fairly soon, in the next probably 5 years, she is going to retire and she's going to become a producer or a performance center coach, or she's going to be teaching somewhere. And I just want her to have this one big push. I know they gave her the belt. I was happy for that. And I'm not saying that even this time she needs to to actually win a belt. But I wish they would push her where all of us that root for Natty on a fairly regular basis would get to mark out. We would have our mark out moment. I feel like Natty has not had the WrestleMania moment or the SummerSlam moment of her career. And so let's give her one. As for Charlotte, I told you, I'm going to make predictions or tell you what I want to happen. I wish WWE would listen to me. I want Charlotte to go on the biggest losing streak of her life. She's been a winner all of her life. We all know about her past as an athlete, her being a star volleyball player, her being a star track athlete, her, walking into wrestling as, a second generation superstar. I want her to go on this losing streak that gets her questioning herself. Gets her, maybe even we show her going back to her roots, going back to, how she grew up, maybe talking to some former stars. No, I don't mean her dad. Maybe going back and talking to her volleyball coach in college or going back to her high school or something, and her just going through this whole, what should I do? I can't win complex thing, and then see her rise. Almost like a phoenix from the ashes, and I feel like people could get behind her then, or once she gets on top, she can turn back to her cocky, evil self. I don't really care, but I want them to do a longer storyline with Charlotte and make her interesting again. And if she doesn't want to wrestle and she wants to go have kids, then go do it. But get off my TV being boring and half-heartedly giving promos and even half-heartedly wrestling. Just, make a decision and let's do something. And of course, because we've had Lana and we've had Charlotte and Natty, well, let's just throw all the women in there. Let's talk to Becky. So, Becky comes across like she's making two big announcements, being interviewed. One, that she's going to take on Asuka at the Royal Rumble. Well, congratulations, Becky. Why is there no build up to this? Yes, I know that WWE is saying it's because she lost last year at the Royal Rumble. It's been a year. We're bringing this back up. Asuka made her tap out before she won the Royal Rumble when, Lana fell down and did whatever to her ankle. But I wish that this would have a little more build up than what it's actually getting. I mean, we didn't even see Asuka tonight. We haven't heard from her or anything like that. So Becky makes that announcement. She's obviously going to take her on at the Royal Rumble. And then she all of a sudden throws out there, well, I got this match because my contract's almost up. Well, number one, I don't believe that. I don't believe that Becky has been with them long enough for her contract to be up. Number two, she didn't say it believably. I wish she would have said, I'm holding them hostage to basically get this match. And depending on the outcome of this match, I might be done with the WWE. I've pretty much accomplished everything I need to accomplish here, and maybe I'm done. That would have maybe solved the contract angle a little more. Otherwise, why even bother with that? Because, like I said, most fans know her contract's not up. WWE is not going to let her get away. And they have already made it a huge deal that she's dating Seth Rollins. They're engaged. She's not leaving WWE. They're throwing money at her. So don't even bring this angle up. Just talk about how Asuka beat you last time. Well, then they flash to Bobby Lashley getting ready for the wedding. Great. He's got a tuxedo with no sleeves in it. Yeah, this is going to be a disaster. And of course, then we see the commercials, and we come back to a Liv Morgan promo. Well, I am kind of excited. I've been waiting for Liv Morgan, to come back. We saw her on Total Divas. People have been hinting about it. Dirt sheets the rumor mill have been saying she's on her way back. So I was kind of glad to see, this little promo about how she's coming back real soon. So I was a little excited. I enjoyed her stints, I guess, on Total Divas that they have showed her, and she seems like a really cool person. So I can't wait to see the story they're gonna tell. So then the OC comes out, and they have AJ Styles, and this is where I guess I lose my mind, lose my train of thought, whatever you want to say, because they start showing the replay of the OC beating Viking Raiders and Randy Orton's knee giving out and AJ getting to pin him. And as the Street Profits come out interrupting and start talking, they flash to the OC and AJ Styles in the ring. And I have no clue what the Street Profits are talking about, because it pops into my mind, why is Gallows wearing makeup? And why is this happening? I know he's been doing it for a little while, and I know that I should have questioned it sooner. I don't know whether it was the camera angle or the mood that I was in when I was watching this, but that immediately popped in to my mind. Why is Gallows wearing this makeup? Did he do that when they were in New Japan? Because I don't remember that. And so if anybody out there knows the answer, Gallows, if you're listening to this podcast, may end up having to tweet you. Why are you wearing makeup? Because Anderson's not, and AJ's not. So what's the deal? What is going on? So then I decide, I haven't been focusing, and the Street Profits are yakking. What are they talking about? And as they're coming down the ramp, I start thinking about the chicken and the egg. Oh, no, which came first? Did Private Party come first, or did Street Profits come first? And which one's which again? And who's in AEW and who's in WWE? Because they both sound the same to me. They both they're funny, but as far as the wrestling and as far as me really caring, I don't. And so I was just, I don't know. I just kind of phased all this out. Next time, I check back in, Lana is checking out her flyers. And I'm like, what are you doing, Lana? This is going to be a disaster. And of course, the commercials come. And then the Street Profits show up on my TV again. So I'm thinking, did I totally miss something? Because didn't they talk before the match? Didn't they do a promo while I was talking about and thinking about Gallows? Were they not yakking and talking then? And how much money did they have to pay the WWE to get to talk again? Because most people do not talk before the match and then get to talk again after the match. So I was just like, really? Who gets to do this? And why? Why are we doing this? Did wrestlers not show up tonight that we can show, that we have to show them twice? And then I really started questioning, Oh yeah, people did not show up tonight because out pops Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. And the first thing goes through my mind is, gee, wonder who they're losing to tonight. Because you talk about Jobber City. Zach and Kurt, love their podcast. Love watching them on YouTube. Great personalities. They actually make wrestling figures interesting and funny. I really enjoy them immensely. But anytime I see them actually on wrestling TV in their outfits, I'm thinking, who are y'all losing to tonight? Well, then I hear the announcers talking about, oh, it's a 2-on-1 handicap match. Well, I think, huh. Oh, yeah, y'all are definitely losing, so who are you losing to tonight? Well, it's Drew McIntyre. And he comes out and, of course, starts talking about how this is not really a handicap match. And I start thinking, I don't really know whether I'm supposed to cheer him or not. I have always liked Drew McIntyre since he came back to the WWE. I love his cocky attitude. I have enjoyed him and have wished that they would have pushed him harder at the beginning of last year. I thought they were. Then I thought that him and Strowman were going to get into a nice long program, and of course they didn't. And so I kind of have wondered what they're going to do with him. What are they planning for him? And so I've kind of always liked him as a heel. But tonight, listening to him talk, he was kind of funny. And he was interesting, and he was making fun of them and making fun of WWE and the audience. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Are they turning him babyface? Or are they just going to let him be a cool heel? Because we really haven't had a cool heel in a long, long time. That kind of heel where they're funny, they're cocky, and you want to cheer them. And so I'm hoping that that's what the WWE has planned, and I hope that Drew McIntyre can pull it off. I'm really, interested in that. And of course, then they have to show the breaking news that Randy Orton was injured in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And that led me to start thinking during commercials, hey, all the rumors are saying that this could be fake. We're kind of ruining it for fans and kind of saying, hey, we think this might be fake. We think this is a work. Kind of watch out. So then you come back from commercials and they start hyping up next week. And you see Rey Mysterio versus Andrade for, his redemption match. And then we get a triple threat match of the Viking Raiders, the Street Profits, and the OC for next week. And I'm thinking, hey, this has got the makings of maybe the start of a good show. So let's get after it. Well, then I notice it's the 10 o'clock hour. And this is usually when fans start dropping off, getting disgusted with Raw. The ratings start tanking, people start going to bed, people start changing the channel. Usually, during football season, there's a football game on, people's wanting to catch, the fourth quarter. There was no football game, and so I was wondering, hey, what is the WWE going to put in this to kind of keep fans? And I forgot about the wedding. And that was a mistake on my part. But WWE shocked me. Randy Orton's music hits. Love his music. You will probably hear me say that over and over every time I talk about Randy Orton. love his song. It fits him. I love it. Of course, he starts down the ramp, and I am starting to think about those rumors, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking, this is fake. This is fake. He's not doing the ramp walk very well for a hurt person. He's not faking this. And then when he has problems getting in the ring, and Jerry Lawler, the King, is just not selling this that well. He's not making me believe this. And I was just like, this is fake, and I don't know why we're faking this. What's going on? So Randy gets the microphone, and because I love him so much, and I have loved him for years, his promo starts making me believe, oh my gosh, Randy Orton might be hurt. I start feeling sorry for him. He's getting this look, this faraway look, and he's talking about his injury. And then he has to talk about Edge and Edge retiring. And I'm thinking, man, is this real? And part of me kind of wants it to be real so everybody will be wrong. And then, of course, part of me wants it to be fake because I don't want him to go away. And, of course, like the fan I am, and the fan that I will never tell you I'm an expert on wrestling, because I'm not. I'm a fan. I couldn't help but mark out when he said, I'm going to do everything in my power to get back by WrestleMania, because I'm RKOing somebody at WrestleMania. And I couldn't help but get all excited and everything. And then, daggone you, WWE, you hit AJ's music. And here comes AJ. And I'm like, screw you, Randy. You just faked me out. And I'm kicking myself because as soon as AJ comes out, I know this is all a work. I know he is not hurt. And this is total crap. And so I'm going back and forth while AJ's talking because I'm kicking myself. I'm thinking, I can't believe he fell for that. This is garbage. AJ does a nice heel promo here. I really enjoyed the whole I'm not touching you part of it, and then he smacks his leg. I really like that. I do, however, hate AJ's hair. I'm tired of him flipping it around. I hope that Randy Orton does something about it. I need to write him. Y'all need to write him, because as much as I loved Randy Orton sticking his finger through Jeff Hardy's ear, I want Randy Orton to RKO AJ so bad that he is completely out of it long enough for Randy Orton to cut his hair, because I'm just tired of him flipping it all the time. It drives me insane. He flips his hair more than any girl I ever known. So he's teasing Randy and all of that, and I'm just waiting. When are you going to crack him in the head with a crutch? When are you hitting him? And, of course, he has to say the line about him having no patience, because we all know Randy Orton has no patience, and he does an awesome RKO, of course, out of nowhere, and I can't help but mark out again when he hits his pose at the top of the ring post with both arms in the air like he has done for years. And so I'm like, hey, I am enjoying this 10 o'clock hour. I don't want to change the channel for once. And I'm thinking, WWE is going to put on a great last hour of 2019. Again, I had forgot about the wedding. But anyway, we then see, the recap again in case no one got it or they didn't tune in to the beginning of the show. We've got to talk about Mysterio losing his belt once again to Andrade at Madison Square Garden, and then Ray cuts a promo on Seth and AOP. Now, I know 10 minutes ago we just talked about how next week Ray is taking on Andrade to get his belt back. But he's cutting a promo on Seth and AOP. Well, guess what, WWE? I'm not stupid. Ray's losing next week. They're somehow going to have AOP interfere. They're going to beat him down before the match. He's going to lose clean to Andrade, and then he's going to go after AOP. I don't care what storyline you want to throw in there at the last minute, but you basically just told me he's losing. He's not going to get his belt back. So there's no point in me even watching that part of WWE next week. What was the point in promoing that match to get us excited, only to have Ray talk about Seth and AOP, because that's going to be his next program. And he's not going to have the belt because they're not going to have Seth and him fight over belts. So this is, this was ridiculous, but I also know why they threw it together at the last minute, because they wanted to plug the match with Andrade, and his match is up next. So we see him and Vega come out, and it looks like he's got new ring attire. And what was it? The collar on his ring attire looks like a clown outfit collar. Is he a clown now? They pan back and it looks like it's a jacket, and I'm looking for some way it would be Mexican or it would be luchador style, but it's not. I don't know what he was wearing. And they quickly go to commercial, and I'm like, whatever. So this is turning into an Andre squash match. And because I had taped this, I was getting ready to hit the fast forward button, because I was done with this. I don't want to see it. It's 10 o'clock. Raw is 3 hours long. I haven't hit the fast forward button yet, but I'm getting ready to. And Ricochet hits. His music, he comes out, he gives this whole speech about how he's not going to let him do this to basically the squashy, I don't even know what his name was, and how he did it to Umberto, who I don't care about, and how he did it to Ray. And so, if he would have just come out and said, hey, I'm fighting for Ray, I would have been, yay, Ricochet. But because he had to talk about all these other people, including the little squashy that no one cares about and no one even knows, I was just like, I'm writing this off. This is stupid. And so I'm kind of half paying attention to it and just kind of half doing other things, checking my phone. I kind of look up, I see Vega interfere, and Andrade basically pins Ricochet clean. And I'm thinking, the point of this was what? I guess they showed the promo of Ray calling out Seth and the AOP, and then they bring Ricochet out for Andrade. So I guess that's the next programs. Next week, the match doesn't matter. You guys can skip it. I will try not to skip it because I want to yak to you guys about it. But basically, you guys can skip it because Andrade is going to go fight Ricochet now, who's going to stand up for everybody and be a superhero. And then Ray is going to go fight AOP and Seth. So basically, Andrade and Ray are over, and you don't even need to watch the match next week. So I'm saving you some time. See there? Another reason to listen to this podcast all the time, because I'm going to save you time. So then we see great news. Or some people think it's great news. Brock is coming to Raw next week. And they make a point of saying he's going to be there live. Now, they do not say he's going to have a match, because we all know Brock only wrestles on pay-per-views. And what they really mean is you haven't heard Paul Heyman talk in a while, so we're going to bring Paul Heyman out, and Brock is going to dance around in the ring. And they're going to challenge somebody so that you kind of know what's going to be leading up to him at the Royal Rumble, at Elimination Chamber, and on to WrestleMania. So, yay, Brock's coming next week, I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to get real excited, but I am interested in reading all the websites this week that are going to tell me who Brock's going to be facing. But I am going to watch because I like Paul Heyman. He's got the best promos out there, and I just want to listen to him. So I'm excited that Paul Heyman is coming to Raw next week, and like I said, Brock's going to dance around a little bit. Well, then they start the wedding, and I'm like, oh no, I forgot about the wedding. You guys have not been shown it enough, and you haven't showed it recently, and I don't want this to happen. So they start the music, and Bobby walks out, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is already awful. His tuxedo is awful. Him being sleeveless is awful. And then Lana comes out, not to the wedding march, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a hot mess. I don't know how WWE is going to make it a hot mess, but it's going to be a hot mess. So, I can't help it. Like I said, I'm a wrestling fan. So throughout the years, of course, we have been treated to wrestling weddings over and over and over again. Of course, who can't forget, Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Miss Elizabeth? Who can't forget Test and Stephanie McMahon? Or Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. And so I'm hoping this is going to be a show. Well, it starts out, I'm kind of, hey, this is going to be stupid. It's going to be over the top. I'm ready. And they don't disappoint. I enjoy Lana being crazy. I got to see her be crazy on Total Divas. So I was ready for this Lana. I kind of get the feeling she has a little bit in her personality. Because like I said, it was on Total Divas, her with Natty and just different people. So, I was ready for this crazy Lana. So her going crazy over the Rusev chants and the what chants and all of that, the crazy evil Lana, I was like, hey, no problem. I think this is great. She's turning into a heel of kind of major magnitude for a woman superstar, and I'm thinking, hey, we're going up. So you knew an interruption was coming. It was just a minor win. Now, the whole vow stuff and her having Bobby repeat the vows and all that, that was just stupid. Whoever wrote that, come on, you need to get better. But we're waiting for the interruption. So, of course, they, is anyone against this wedding? Well, out comes this guy, and of course, everybody's like, who is this? Well, it's Lana's first husband, who we didn't know she had a first husband, who married her, at 18 years old. And Bobby goes over and just choke slam, boom, done. So I was like, okay, that wasn't that big of a deal. Who cares? So, of course, then the other interruption, and it's by Bobby's first wife that he married, in the military. So we hear Lana smack her with flyers. And I don't know who has ever gotten smacked with flyers where we never see you again. But anyway, we never see this chick again. So she's out. So I'm still thinking WWE has got to have something else, because it's the 10 o'clock hour. We've got to keep people from changing their channels. And by now, they're getting ready to. So we have an interruption by Liv Morgan. And she is wearing a cool kind of tuxedo. I liked her half-sleeveless look. I liked the double-breasted tuxedo outfit. I enjoyed her selling that, she is in love and she can't let this happen, and on and on and on. I took one look at Bobby Lashley when they show him, and of course he is overacting. He is doing his typically Bobby Lashley self of having zero personality, so it's not real hard to figure out where they're going with this, that Liv Morgan is after Lana. And I cannot tell you how disappointed I was. Because I've mentioned them several times. I do watch Total Divas. And I got into this season of Total Divas. And yes, I know it was one of the lower ranked ones. Or rated ones. But I got into it because Ronda Rousey was on it this season. But, I stayed into it because of Sonya Deville. I did not know anything about her. I did not follow her MMA career. I did not know about her being in NXT. So watching this on Total Divas and watching her story arc and her clashing with Ronda and kind of talking to Natty and her relationship with her girlfriend and her struggle about coming out, being gay, and her part of the storyline of this season's Total Divas was how she wanted to be a role model for the gay community and how important that was. They made a strong effort in Total Divas of showing people coming up to her and really thanking her for being their hero, for her story allowing them to feel okay. And as part of Total Divas, Sonya Deville went to WWE and asked to have the first purely gay storyline, LGBTQ storyline on WWE, because she is openly gay. And she asked to have that with Mandy Rose. And that had been set up. There had been hints there, and hints coming and going. They had back and forth Twitters. And so it was set up, and why WWE did not allow that to happen so that Sonya Deville's fans could really experience that and really have someone to look up to have their own WWE superstar. I was so disappointed to see Bobby Lashley overacting and that realization to hit me. Oh, they told Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose no. And here they're going to do it with Liv Morgan and Lana. And as far as I know, it may come out tomorrow, but as far as I know, neither one of them are gay or bisexual or LGBTQ. They are not heroes to that community. They aren't going to be the people on a stage at Access at WrestleMania signing teenagers or 20-somethings or 60-somethings that have just recently come out and became a part of the LGBT community posters like Sonya Deville has. And so I'm really upset because, like I said, with Total Divas, I really felt like I got to know Sonya Deville, and I felt for her. I felt her passion for that community. I felt how much she wanted that storyline, and to see them do this and to see them kind of almost throw it into the LGBTQ community and make it about two women doing the sexualization thing for men. It was sad. And then, for Lana to slap her and attack her and see Liv Morgan have to fight back and then roll around on the floor and get into cake and all of this, it was just ridiculous. I was just like, hello, it is almost 2020 and we're still seeing this. You talk about bringing back an 80s stereotype. I don't know. And then they bring refs out to break it up. Referees are breaking up a fight at a wedding. Now, luckily, they brought some people out in suits also to break them up. But I was just like, come on, referees? So, like I said, I knew it was going to be over the top. I knew it was going to be stupid. That's just wrestling weddings. But, I thought, how much more can this be? Oh, WWE said, hold my beer. We've got to make this worse. So they have Rusev break out of the cake. Now, I feel sorry for him because he's had to be in that cake for a good, half an hour or longer. He breaks out, and I'm thinking, are you serious? Can this get any worse? Who wrote this? This is ridiculous. Of course, him and Bobby Lashley have to get into it. They have to get cake all over. They have to, throw stuff. In this moment, I'm thinking, I like crazy Rusev. I like when he gets craziness in his eyes. I wish he didn't have to go through this. I wish he could have turned crazy some other way. But this is the best part of it, But Liv then has to come back in the ring and smash some more cake. And as they're going off there, of course, we're seeing Rusev and Liv gang up on Lana. And I can't tell you how disappointed in this. Like I said, I was ready for a stupid over-the-top wrestling wedding that, some of them are funny, some of them are just stupid, but I wasn't ready for them to go down this path. And in my opinion, and you can disagree with me, I think they made a big mistake. I really do. I think they made a big mistake. I think they offended a part of their audience that was really starting to grow, and that Sonya Deville had really made an effort to bring in to the WWE universe, and I think they just kind of slapped them in the face. And I mean, if you disagree with me, hey, that's great. We are Wrestling Overtime at gmail.com. We are Wrestling Overtime on Twitter and Facebook. Holler at me. Tell me why this isn't a slap in the face. If you agree with me, tell me that too. But I just really think that this was kind of a slap in the face. So let's kind of talk about ratings, because I decided to post this as the first episode of 2020, and so this actually happened a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. So the ratings are already out for Monday night's Raw. They did go up. I was a little shocked, but you can't get any worse. Last week, they were 1.8, and this week they rose to 2.4. That's a pretty significant pop-up. So I think a lot of it had to do with last week. Number one, it was Christmas week, but number two, Raw taped it, and it wasn't live, so everybody had kind of seen the spoilers coming out and kind of knew what was going to go on. So I think it was the reason why it was a 1.8, but then it popped up to a 2.4. Now, of course, in the 8 o'clock hour, it was 2.5. In the 9 o'clock hour, it's 2.4. And then at the start of the 10 o'clock hour, they were 2.3 million. And so I was like, okay. It also came out that July 22nd was the high mark of WWE in ratings. This year, they had 3 million viewers on July 22nd. So, hey, whatever. Another news and update that some of you may not be aware of is AEW took and did an AEW Dark. Let me say that again. AEW did an AEW Dark special. They did the 2019 year in review. And I know some of you are thinking, hey, they have only been on the air since October. What do they have to review? Well, let me tell you, for those of you who have not checked out AEW Dark on YouTube, I'm telling you, some very good matches are there, and you really do want to check them out. Plus, if you've never been to a live event and you've never seen AEW Dark on YouTube, then you definitely need to go check it out, because they have different commentators. When they were here in Charleston, West Virginia, MJF was the commentator. Taz has been the commentator. They bring in different commentators for AEW Dark to kind of give a different spin to the matches and kind of a different outlook and things. And they're real interesting to watch. So I encourage you to go look up the AEW Dark year-end review special. Like I said, it's on YouTube. Found it interesting. I found an article where it mentioned that former WWE writer Tom Castelletto was on social media, and he made the comment that no writer could have changed that wedding. That was pretty much all Vince McMahon. Maybe some writers made some slight tweaks. Maybe they tried to make big tweaks, but they weren't allowed. He does think it was a disaster, but he was, taking up for the writers, and he said, when you're in that situation, you're not going to be making a lot of changes, that this is a Vince McMahon production. And so I guess that's who we're going to blame about this wedding, because it does sound like this is something that, a 70, 80, 90, 150-year-old man would want, is a wedding ruined by a lesbian relationship that no one knew anything about, and for them to get in a cat fight and include cake. So, kind of glad, that we know that Vince is behind all of this. Like, we couldn't figure that one out anyway. And with New Year's Eve being last night, of course, we got to see the last match of 2019, where Roman Reigns, of course, had to beat Dolph Ziggler. And the 24/7 belt changed twice. For those of you who didn't watch it, R-Truth got knocked down by Mojo Rawley. And of course, everybody should have known Mojo Rawley was going to be there, because Gronk was on there. Excuse me, Santa Gronk clause. Gronk clause was on there, and anywhere Gronk is, he's trying to get Mojo Rawley to be in as much stuff as he can. He can't help but take care of his friend. So Mojo knocked down R-Truth, pinned him, and won the belt. Well, that didn't last long. Because then we saw Elias hit Mojo over the head with the guitar and allow R-Truth to pin Mojo Rawley. And so 2020 rang in with R-Truth as our 24/7 champion, just like it should be. I hope if they really do retire this belt, or they do away with it, or it kind of fades away, I just hope that R-Truth gets to keep it, and that it is plastered all 3,000 million zillion times that he has won it on a wall in his house. I hope he gets a new belt every time and just tacks it up on a wall, because if anybody deserves it, it is R-Truth. And then lastly, before I sign off, for those of you who are listening to this the day that it is published, then I want to let you guys know Tony Schiavone is not going to be on Wednesday night's AEW Homecoming to Jacksonville. He's going to be at the Sugar Bowl. He's doing some producing there. I'm not sure whether he is actually helping produce the game, or he is producing some segments, or exactly what he's doing, but he will not be in Jacksonville tomorrow night, Wednesday night on AEW. But I have some great news. Taz will be. Excuse me, I got all choked up with that. Taz is going to be the guest commentator with Jim Ross and Excalibur. And so I can't wait. I have missed Taz. I love his podcast. I love Taz. I love Taz as a commentator. I enjoyed him when he did AEW Dark, and I am so looking forward to AEW tomorrow night's Homecoming in Jacksonville. I cannot wait. They're having some awesome matches, and I look forward to talking to you about AEW soon. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast and hit me up on Wrestling Overtime on Facebook, Twitter, or wrestlingovertime@gmail.com. This is Sam, and I'm signing off.